Right, this is a video for the rpcs3 settings. And this is if you're on a low-end computer or laptop, a desktop laptop, yeah, sort of low and mid-range. And if you're not using external graphics cards, you're just using the inbuilt internal, the Intel. So let's get to it. There's about a year's worth. I've spent probably 4 to 6 hours every day for a year trying to work out the settings, so hopefully this will save someone else the bother. So I've got a compare, well, pretty big list here of things. So we're going to go through all of these. So we've got quite a bit to get through, so we might as well get started. Now, by low end, now you're probably wondering, like, what's low end, what's mid range, or what computer's going to be able to do it. Okay, well, it depends on a lot of things. Now, as I say, these are settings for if you've got just your internal inbuilt graphics you want to work off on your mid range, low end sort of laptop or desktop. Now, okay, there's a difference. You got, of course, i3, i5, i7. What does all this mean? Well, basically, i3 is just like your third gen. If you had a 2000, Intel 2000 something, Intel 3000 and something, an Intel, 5000, 6000, whatever that something is, like, it could be a 6200, it could be a 4600, it could be a 3800, whatever. So when it says i3, i5, i7, it just means it's the next, the next gen. Like, they've upstepped the CPUs. So I mean, you'll find a lot of the i5s will be a 4-core, and there's a lot of, the i7s, you have a 7-8 core CPU, which of course when it comes to gaming, having that extra CPU on a ultra low end like a 3800 or something, if you've got eight core CPU that actually is like 8 threads as well, well, you're going to be alright on say a 3800. But the equivalent would be say a 4600 i5 4-core. So we've got to say a 3800 i7, a 4600 i5. Of course, like I said, the 3800 has got 8 cores, but it's the i7, so you will be able to get your gaming going. The 4600 on an i5, you'll be able to get your games going. And then, of course, if you're talking different computers, like so they're sort of your HP computers. Now, if you're talking Acer computer and different things like this, where you've got the 520s, 620s. I think the 520's got a 5500 graphics inside it by memory or something. The 620, I think, it's the same. 620 goes down to the 5500, but again, you're going to get a little bit more performance out of the 620. So of course there are, you're better off activating all your cores if you're actually in your computer system. See this here, I've got it solely as a rpcs3 system, so I can activate all cores for what I need. If you're on a computer system doing it, you're going to need to leave at least a core, maybe even 2 cores for your actual operating system in the background. But of course, you probably want to have it as 1 core for your operating system and have as many cores as possible to the rpcs3. So basically, you just got to look at things like, so basically 4600 i5 4-core, a 520, which is 5200, and then a 620, actually, which I think they're a 6200U, or I think the 3800 and things are a QM, or so. Yeah, if you got any computers around those ranges, now you notice each one of them are all completely different, but they're all very similar. So of course you've got the old the 3000, which was the i7, but as I say, it's got an 8-core with an 8-thread. With the i5 4600, a lot later model, a lot better processor. But then again, it's only got the 4-core, 4-thread, which is still, still awesome. And of course, the other thing, if you're looking for power efficiency, if you're someone that's living off grid, and you're running everything off battery packs, you're running off inverters, etc., well, you're going to be better off using a laptop. There's two reasons. Number one, and you're going to be better with the i5, like a 4600 i5 or a 620 i5, 520. A reason why, there's two options. You can there's an adapter you can get off Amazon, which will go directly from your battery pack on an off-grid system and directly to your computer, your laptop. Of course, take your battery out, because the battery is what uses all the power to charge it. So take the battery out and just run straight to the computer, and you'll be fine directly off your 12 volt with that adapter. I'm pretty sure they're on Amazon or something anyway. But other than that, if you've got inverters, we just plug it in the inverter, and you're going to have real good efficiency, good power efficiency. Of course, you're only going to be using about 3 amps, which is basically about the same amount as your 12 volt TV. The difference is you're going to be playing PlayStation 3 games, and you could be playing PlayStation 2 games, everything, all the old gaming consoles from PS3 and backwards with these computer systems. And like I say, if you're on an off-grid system, they're the ones you want for power efficiency. I mean, you're using 3 amps, which I think it's about 45 watts or something of power. Whether if you look at a normal PlayStation, your big one, you're using 380 watts of power, by memory, something around there. And your slim lines, your super slim, they're using, I think, 240 or 280. So for off-grid systems out of PS3, of course, the slim line was better because there's a 100 watt difference in power. But then again, you look at that, you're still up at 280 watts. Well, here, this is 45 watts. Okay, you're not going to be able to play all your games. Okay, that's a given. And on these systems, because we're not running any external graphics cards or anything to hype it up, you're going to struggle with big open world games, like Assassin's Creed. Well, actually, Assassin's Creed 2 is okay, but Assassin's Creed, 4 or 5, was it? Black Flag. You're not going to get that going. Crisis 2, Crisis 3, you won't get that going. Red Dead Redemption, I've got settings in here, you will get that going just. But like Far Cry 2, you'll get going just. Far Cry 3, you will not without an external graphics. So, there's pluses to this. You're going to save in power if you're someone that's worried about power, or even if you're wanting to keep your power bills down. And this is the way to go. It's going to be a lot cheaper than actually running your PlayStation itself. If you're on an off-grid system and you're worried about power consumption, or maybe not an off-grid system and you just want your power bills to come down because they're jamming hard out on the PS3, well, this is the way you can do it. Get a laptop or desktop. Well, actually, as I say, the laptop is the one, because you're going to be able to run it at lower amps. But anyway, let's get into it. Start going through all the settings. I am going to go through these pretty quickly. You can just pause it when you need to, or come back and read whatever you got to do. But there is a lot of games to get through and a lot of settings. So I'm just going to start going through this, start from one, just keep going. And like I say, these will get you all set up on a low end, mid-range with your inbuilt graphics on, and this is laptop or desktop. I'll quickly show you a little bit of gameplay if you want. Alright, so you see it, the conflicts. Anyway, we're going to get out of this because we actually don't want to do it. As I say, we're going to go through these pretty quickly. Excuse me. Oh, actually, something I should point out. You'll see here all 8. That's just at the moment I'm on a 3800 with the 8 core. But if this is the 4600, it's going to be 4 core. So you want to make sure you activate all cores. It should automatically do it anyway for you, depending on which computer system you got going. Okay. Now I'm going to give you these settings here as well for part 1. This will get you in the game and you can do some extra little tuning from there. Yeah, you're also probably wondering, well, you know, we're talking about CPUs and the graphics cards before, inbuilt ones, and you're probably sitting there thinking, well, hang on, what about RAM? And yes, RAM does come into it. So, but all these settings I'm going to give you, these will all work for an 8 GB. Well, not all of them actually, sorry. So, actually right now I'll just quickly go through it and I'll show you which ones work on 8 GB, which ones will work on 16 GB. So, Air Conflicts, 8 GB. Assassin's Creed 2, you can get it going on 8 GB. You do get the occasional glitches. As soon as you go 16 GB, those glitches are gone. Back to the Future, 8 GB. Batman Arkham Asylum, 8 GB. With the occasional, very occasional glitch. It's pretty smooth actually, but once you put 16 GB in, no issues. You'll notice here I haven't got Batman Arkham City here. I did have. Now Batman Arkham City you can get going. The problem is you hear the noise, a rustling noise of the helicopter blades all the time in the wind. All your other scenes in game, in buildings and that, you don't hear it, but as soon as you're out in the open where the helicopters are, and I hadn't worked out how to get rid of that noise, I tried everything. So even though I got the game working fine, you'll notice it's not on this list. And it's just because I couldn't get rid of that wind noise, the helicopter blades. No matter what combination. So if you're anyone who's watching this and you know how to get rid of that whooshing noise on a low end to mid-range, leave a comment below. Now Bioshock 2, you'll get that going on 8 GB, but it will run a lot better again on 16 GB. Black Site 8 GB, Borderlands 2 8 GB, Call of Duty Juarez down to 8 GB. Crisis 2 and 3, as I said, nothing but trouble. 8 GB or 16 GB, I can get them to load up, I can get them to go in, but as soon as you go into the game, it just turns to custard. So don't even worry about them ones. Damnation works on 8 GB with occasional glitches, 16 GB, you're fine. Dark Souls 2, what is that? Yep, that one there I had going on 8 GB. But yeah, 16 GB runs even a lot better. Demon Souls, there was just one little glitch on 8 GB, and it was to do with a sound glitch, but on 16 GB it seems to be fine. Dirt Showdown 8 GB, you'll get in game, you'll get to play, but it will be